Good morning, everyone. This is Roger Grabner from Intellinetics. On behalf of ARC Industries, Opera, and Intellinetics, we welcome you to our webinar. Over the next 30 minutes, we are excited to share with you ARC Industries, Tales from the Road, bringing to life its next generation incident case management platform. Before we get started, just a few housekeeping items. The session is being recorded, and due to the large number of attendees, we are keeping everyone on mute throughout the webinar. We do, however, want to hear your questions and comments, so at any time, please use the questions feature in your control panel. Simply type in your question and hit the send button. Time permitting, at the end of the session, we will answer as many questions as we can. For all attendees on today's session, we will be sending out a follow-up email that will include a complete list of all questions and answers, a link to the recording of this webinar, copies of the sample reports that we will be showing, and all of our contact information. Please feel free to share this information with anyone who is not able to attend. In our short time together today, we are going to hear ARC share some of their challenges and goals, what they have identified as critical requirements in an incident case management platform. We'll review some of the solution components, and we'll hear impact, lessons learned, and ideas to consider as you review your own incident case management platform. With that, I'm excited to introduce you to our speakers. Melissa Skaggs, Chief Innovation Officer with ARC Industries, and Kurt Smith, who is Director of Special Projects at ARC Industries. At this time, I'm pleased to turn over the mic to Kurt and Melissa so they can share their story.
Thank you, Roger, and thanks to all of you for attending today's webinar. My name is Kurt Smith, and I'm the Director of Special Projects for ARC Industries. And I thought maybe what we would do is start off with a little bit of background information about ARC Industries so you all have a frame of reference. We are formerly the adult services arm of the Franklin County Board of Developmental Disabilities. And on January 2nd of 2019, we privatized and became ARC Industries. We brought with us into the private world approximately 350 staff. And we currently serve a participant population of about 1,960 or so individuals. Post-privatization, we had the opportunity to kind of take a look at our ways of managing data and using that data in our organization in a new yet compliant way. And I think, prior to our privatization, we had some concerns about several of the data points that we were managing, and absolutely wanted to make a change in the way that we managed that data, so that we were doing it in a way that would serve us from a management perspective, as well as giving our staff valuable information. So as it pertains to incident reporting, we researched the market, and I think the best way to frame it is that we used a couple of primary filters to see what was out there and to see what would meet our needs. Primarily, we looked at workflow and did the system have adequate workflow for us to manage incident reporting? And then also, did it meet our needs for portability, and did it have mobile capability, since our staff has absolutely moved into that mobile realm. So that's pretty much the entirety of the introduction. So before we get into the details of where we landed, I'd like to give you
a little bit of history. As a part of the Franklin County Board of Developmental Disabilities, we partnered with the county board, and had built a proprietary information management system about 15 years ago. And with privatization on the horizon, we absolutely had a decision to make, and that was whether or not we were going to take that information management system with us or look for something that was better suited for our needs. Of course, with rule changes over the years, we had created numerous workarounds with that system, and as our needs changed, we used that system and adapted to the capabilities that it had. The changes as we were looking forward were going to be expensive to make, and also the maintenance of that proprietary system was also a factor in our decision making. The other piece was that we had made a conscious decision as an organization when we privatized to be a mobile organization. Currently, there are no desktops in our agency. No staff member, from our CEO all the way to direct support professionals. No one has a desktop computer. So our current need was to be a very mobile organization. We also had the need to include mixed media in our incident reporting. What we're finding is that more and more, as technology is in the hands of the folks that we're supporting, as well as in the hands of our staff in a mobile setting, we were dealing with more audio files, video files, screenshots, text messages, things, those types of supplemental information that are pertinent to incident reporting and incident investigation. So we needed a platform that would be able to handle those that other type of mixed media. Of course, over the years, reporting requirements have changed in the state, and so a reporting system that's flexible and easy to use would be a real benefit to us. We are putting this technology in the hands of our staff, who more and more are out and engaged in the community, and we wanted to make sure that we had a system that would meet those needs. Our visibility into trends and patterns had shifted. It's absolutely shifted from more of a building focus. We have 5 facilities. Arc Industries operates 5 facility-based service programs where we access our community through those facilities, as well as a large employment department that works with individuals in community-based employment. So we needed a system that would provide us with the ability to do an agency-wide view of our incident reporting, as well as the ability to drill down into those locations and look for trends and patterns, both from an agency perspective as well as from a more granular approach. And we also needed the ability to shift burners, as it were. Occasionally, an incident will come in, and it will look as though it's going to be something tremendously significant. And as new information is made available, we need the ability to be able to shift that to maybe a different burner as we gain additional insight into that incident. So those were kind of the key challenges or buckets that we were putting information into. And I'm going to turn the presentation now over to Melissa Skaggs, and she's going to kind of walk you through the system and give you some more details about the new system as it sits today.
Good morning, everyone. Just to kind of recap a couple of things, I think we had a little bit of an audio issue. We privatized at the beginning of January of this year and needed to find a new way of handling our incidences as we moved away from Franklin County Board and started providing services as Arc Industries. And so with the number of incidences and things like that we generate, we definitely had a little bit of a challenge at looking at what types of systems were already available in the market. And so what we want to take a couple minutes to do is to kind of just show you a graphic here of the things that we were looking at that we wanted to make sure were priorities for us. So obviously when you're dealing with incidences, you're looking at who the individuals are, the people that are involved, the locations where the incident happens, and the types of incidents based upon our reporting requirements. And so after that, we started looking at how we can best manage those. And so the folks at Intellinetics have come up with this system, Adaptive Case Analysis and Response, or what they call CARE. And so we kind of built everything off of that. And we're going to go through a little bit more in detail some of this graphic. And when you get this presentation, you'll be able to match all this up. But we're not going to spend too much time on that, but just kind of wanted to put that out there in front of you. We're going to move now into what the incident reporting process that we're using looks like for our staff. So what you're seeing here is some screenshots what our staff have when they go out to create an incident. And so, as Kurt was telling you, we're very mobile. We don't have any desktops in our system, and so it was very important to us to be able to have a system that would work with us and be very mobile. So our staff have the ability to enter this information from any location that there is an internet connection, and we have folks using laptops, netbooks, and mobile tablets. So that's what most of this is getting entered from. The other nice thing is this system does have the ability to integrate with softwares. We currently use the Advisor software, and so we integrate with that. And what makes that nice is we enter an individual or a staff person into Advisor. We never have to go enter them into the incident management system because all of that just flows directly over from Advisor in a very short amount of time. So that integration allows for us to maintain one database instead of having to maintain multiple databases. That was a very important thing for us to do as well. So it's a very clean form, very easy, lots of drop downs and things like that that the staff can use and see and choose from. And so that's kind of the screen that they see. So we're going to move into the workflow dashboard. This system uses something that's called a chip. That's a role. It's the Central Hub Incident Processing. It's a person. We have a person here that plays that role. This dashboard allows for us to see all the incidences that have been reported and allows us to see what status they're in. So as you're looking at this right now, you can see that we've put in this new incident for a person named Joshua Avery. This is just all fictitious information at this point. But you can see that says the status of that is new, so that would be a new MUI, and we would be able to see that when we open this dashboard. Our chip role is who has access to this dashboard, and then if we want CEOs to have access or designees or anything like that, we can decide who gets access to this dashboard. It allows us to manage who can see what in the different types of incidences. So we have these role assignments set up based on the type of incident. MUIs are always first on the list, so as we get an MUI in, that's always going to be at the top and at the very start of this dashboard. So the dashboard is where we are able to go in and control everything that's happening with the incident. So what happens is oops, sorry guys, I hit my button too quick. So what happens is the chip role gets the incident, and then from that there is a series of individuals that needs to see the incident. Every agency, this is going to look different. So for us, this is the process that we use. Those of you that are doing services, you may have different roles, different titles, those types of things, but this is the way we do it. So you'll see over here where it says the step role, you'll see the chip, then you'll see the supervisor, that's kind of highlighted in pink. So the chip gets in the incident after the staff reports it, they go through, they review the incident, they approve what is there, what the staff put, and then it moves to the supervisor. The supervisor will go in, they'll look at the report, they'll be able to add any additional information that they want to. They cannot change any information, but they can add things to the report. They'll approve it, and then in this case, the next person it would stop at would be the nurse, so on and so forth. These roles are assigned based upon the location of service, the type of incident that has happened. So these roles are flexible in the way we can use them. Again, it allows us to see where everything is at. So we will be able to tell who the next person is that needs to see it and all of that. So all of that is right there in front of us. Gives you some details of the incident. You can't see all of the pieces of this because it's just really hard to put all of these up on the screen, but there's a place there that says location description, and you can see that there's a grayed out box. So the first person that reported the incident said that it was in the main lobby just inside the building. That's what they put. And then the next person that got it is in the white box, and they've put, upon review of the incident occurred at the west entrance. And so that's where we're able to gather more information, but yet keep what we have intact. So the incident remains intact from the beginning to the end of the process. It also allows us to see who's been notified through the process. So at any point, we're able to see what individuals, guardians, the county board, those types of things, anyone that's been notified during this process, they can see all of that in this as well. So the incident review side of this can only be seen by the folks who have the roles. So once we finish with our incidences and things like that, we do have the ability then to go in and look at things, especially when we're doing our monthly reviews. This search option gives us the ability to look at things from the type of MUIs or UIs. We can narrow those down, where they're at in process. So if somebody wanted to go out and say, you know, show me all of them that are in process but haven't been finished, we would be able to narrow that down. If we wanted to look to see a quick snapshot of, you know, how many incidences, you know, did Jane Doe have during a certain period of time, we would be able to do that. We'd be able to look just by category. We can look just by location of service. All of those different things that we're able to look at. And so the search options that we have on the dashboard make this very helpful in our review process and things like that. So the ability to drill down is extremely helpful in all of this. The next thing that you're going to see is a screenshot of just kind of the first page of what a report would look like. There's multiple pages in each report, so each different section is on a page. It does give us the ability to attach files to the reports. So as Kurt had talked earlier, the ability to have mixed media. So, you know, if somebody has a video or they have a different type of Word, you know, a Word document or something like that that they've written that they want to attach, we would be able to do all of that. You can also see a short snippet over there of a form that we have used to do our monthly review. And so that's something that we can also be able to get out from here and be able to use that from our review process. You'll be able to see any notes that were made, every person that touched it, what time they touched it, the next person who it went to. The entire workflow is listed out in the report. And for us, the workflow was the really important piece of this system. We had a lot of hands that touched it, and we sometimes that gets hard to keep track of. And so this automatically sends emails to the next person who needs to see it. So when the CHIP approves it, then there's an email that is sent to the supervisor gets it, they go through their process, they approve it, and it would go on to the nurse in this instance, and it would go all the way through the entire flow until it gets back to the CHIP. And so this workflow process for us was really, really important. The other thing that Kurt had talked about earlier was the ability to have the escalation or de-escalation of an incident. So say, for instance, and this report calls this out, there was someone in the process that, you know, gets to the nurse, and the nurse, you know, adds detail, and that detail changes this from a UI to an MUI based upon the information that that person had. And so the nurse has the ability to change it to an MUI that will reroute that all the way back up to the chip roll, and will start back down again while we're keeping all of the information that we already have, but now we need to run it through the MUI process. It allows that to happen. And so basically it tells us that there's been a rejection of some sort, and we can find out what the reason is for that, and then it will reprocess it all the way back through. So even though someone already saw it as a UI, they are now going to get the opportunity to see it back as an MUI and make comments based on that change. So that was that piece of this, that for us is like the gold nugget of this whole system, is the ability to control that workflow. The other thing that we can do in controlling the workflow is, say for instance, the supervisor was involved in the incident. For some reason, the supervisor was the person that was involved in the incident. We have the ability to remove the supervisor from the workflow and skip over that person. So in that case, it would have went from the chip, we'd skip the supervisor, and it would go to the nurse. And so that's how that process would work in that as well. So we have had some key results in this. So some of the things that we've been able to do is we've been able to train all of our staff on how to use the system, on how to report an incident. We've done all of that virtually. So all of our training was done. We used Zoom, and all of that was done via webinars to them. It's been very easy for the staff to use. The training lasted about a half an hour, and then we're able to, you know, of course, monitor what they're doing. But it has been a very easy system for our staff to use. They don't have to go outside. So we use Advisor Anywhere in conjunction with Advisor. So our staff can literally click on a link in Advisor Anywhere, and it takes them directly to the incident reporting system. So that's a really important feature for us as well. So it does give us visibility into all the things that are happening around the incident. So it was important for us that all of our stakeholders were able to contribute all types of content. And so what we were looking for there is we wanted staff to be able to contribute at all the different sections. So our staff see the full incident report. So, you know, they're able to list cause and contributing factors. They're able to tell us what happened, you know, if there was any immediate actions that were taken, those types of things. They have complete access to the full report as well. And then again, people just go back behind and add in more detail. Again, we kind of talked a little bit about adding that mixed media. Last week we had a situation where there was a video and somebody said, oh, we have this video of the incident, but we don't have any way to upload it. And it's like, yes, we do. We have this new system. And so we were able to upload the video. So I think that was a really interesting turn of events for staff to realize, you know, we can use this a little bit more effectively now. Obviously, all the incident reporting is done kind of from a satellite perspective because we have everybody out across, you know, across the city of Columbus. And so it's nice that they can do this anywhere, and then we can look at everything now from an agency perspective. Before, things were looked at kind of just on a location basis, and now we want to look at everything from an agency perspective, and it allows us to bring everything back in on that. So everything for us now is automated, it's compliant, and it's a completely managed review process. So the users know that reports have all the data. There's nothing more, there's nothing less. We're giving them everything they need there. We hope this will help to eliminate any type of negative impact to us. Obviously the board, the state, kind of looking at all of that kind of stuff. We want to make sure that we're able to support all of the different stakeholders that we have in this process. We feel like the reporting is a huge asset to us. These automatically generated reports are really important to us. We also keep them, so we have these available to us at any time that we can reproduce these. It helps us with our trend analysis and all of those types of things. So it really feels like for us at this point that it solved a lot of those issues. When we looked at how we were going to manage incidences going forward, we definitely wanted to make sure that we were improving our efficiencies in processing and reporting of incidences. We wanted to make sure that we were coming up with something that would allow us to make data-driven decisions. So it's interesting when you can filter down and say, this is in total how many falls, did we have more falls at one location than another location, those types of things, so we can make training decisions and things like that based on data that we have. Feel like it strengthened our risk position. So if we have to have a report called out for any type of legal situation or anything like that, we have all of the information. We know everyone that touched it, what time they touched it, what date they touched it. We know all of that information, so we feel like that strengthened that position. Improving our service levels and collaboration, because we're able now to have everyone contribute to the process. And then just the overall organizational impact and the ease of which we've been able to do this was a little bit broader than what we had anticipated, and we've been very excited to see what this has brought to our organization. So we learned some things along the way as we were going through this. We wanted to make sure that what we were working with was going to be easy to use, it was going to be easy for staff to learn, and it was going to be affordable for us to have for the future. We certainly didn't want to get involved with something that was then going to escalate in cost. We wanted to make sure that the users had access, that they had the ability to contribute and approve these things in a very easy and timely manner. We wanted to make sure that visibility was there into all the supporting information. We wanted to make sure that everything we were doing was going to be compliant from the data collection side, from the processing and the reporting side. And we wanted to make sure that it allowed us to conduct a review and inventory of all of our roles, our policies and procedures. So it gave us the ability to take a deep dive and look into what we were doing in the current process and what we wanted to see and streamline into this new process. So it gave us the ability to do that. So I think I'm down to maybe just like a couple of minutes. And so we want to make sure everybody gets to end on time. I don't know if there's been anybody in the chat box or anything like that. Any questions?
Yeah, this is Roger Grabner with Intellinetics. First of all, thanks Kurt and Melissa for sharing your story. Just a few wrap-up items. We understand at the beginning we had some audio problems. We apologize for that. But I think Kurt and Melissa did a good job of catching this up as we went through to backfill any information that was earlier. As we come to the end of the time, throughout the session, we've been collecting your questions and answers in the question box. Thanks for all those that submitted those. Due to time, instead of trying to decide which ones to answer, we're just going to package them all up and send out a complete list of questions and answers to each of you in attendance. I will say, however, the majority of questions centered around how to get more information, and so you'll see our contact information here, as well as a link to schedule a demonstration. In a follow-up email, we'll be sending everyone our contact information. As I said, a complete list of all questions and answers, a copy of the sample reports that were talked about, and a full link to this recording so you can share that with anybody that wasn't in attendance. And with that, I'd like to again thank Kurt and Melissa for sharing their story with us. I'd also like to thank Opera for their support of these premier vendor webinars, and a special thanks to all of you for spending your time with us this morning. Keep an eye on your inbox for follow-up information, and with that, have a great day.